Times golf flag flies over Houghton during the festival trials as M. Weiner drives off on the first tee, followed by A. Katz. Lionel Phillips, last year's winner, holds a short one, but scoring was generally high on the tricky, fast greens. At Balfour Park, a strong Maccabi side, captained by Springbok Ali Bacher, met an invitation 11 headed by stars like Jackie McGlew and Tiger Lance. Scoring was fast and furious before the Maccabi side ran out winners after a sporting declaration by their opponents. Tennis trials were also held at Balfour Park, which took some of the Bowes contestants as well. The balance of the teams competed at rinks of the Jewish Guild and Sharon Country Clubs.
One stolen night of bliss.
The memories you gave me.
One girl, one boy, some grief, some joy. Memories are made of this.
The memories you gave me.
Don't forget a small moonbeam.
The memories you gave me.
Fold in lightly with a dream.
The memories you gave me.
Your lips and mine, two sips of wine. Memories are made of this.
The memories you gave me.
Then at the wedding bells, the one house where lovers dwell, three little kids for the flavor. Stir carefully through the days, see how the flavor stays. These are the dreams you will savor with his blessings from above.
The memories you gave me.
Serve it generously with love.
The memories you gave me.
One man, one wife, one love, through life. Memories are made of this.
The memories you gave me.
Memories are made of this.
The memory, she's smiling alone. In the lamplight, the withered leaves collect at my feet, and the wind begins to moan. Memories, all alone in the moonlight, I can dream of the old days. Life was beautiful then. I remember the days I knew what happiness is. Let the memories live again. Every street lamp seems to greet a fatalistic warning. Someone matters, and the street lamp gutters, and soon it will be morning. Daylight, I must wait for the sunrise. I must think of a new day, and I mustn't give in. When the dawn comes, tonight will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. A street lamp dies, another night is over, another day is dawning. Touch me, it's so easy to leave me all alone with the memories of my days in the sun. If you'll touch me, you'll understand what happiness is. Look, a new day has begun.
When I was young, I'd listen to the radio, waiting for my favorite songs. When they played, I'd sing along. It made me smile. Those were such happy times, and not so long ago. How I wondered where they'd gone, but they're back again, just like a long-lost friend. All the songs I love so well, every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. When they get to the part where he's breaking her heart, it can really make me cry, just like before. It's yesterday once more. Looking back on how it was in years gone by, and the good times that I had, makes today seem rather sad. So much has changed. It was songs of love that I would sing to them, and I'd memorize each word. Those old melodies still sound so good to me as they melt the years away. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. All the oldies but goodies, every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. All my best memories come back clearly to me. Some can even make me cry, just like before. It's yesterday once more. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing. just begun to live. White lace and promises, a kiss for luck and we're on our way.
We've only begun.
Before the rising sun we fly. So many roads to choose. We start out walking and learn to run.
Just begun.
Sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way, talking it over, just the two of us, working together day to day, together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow.
And yes, we've just begun.
Sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way. Just the two of us, together day to
Eagle, but if drinks are in the house,
And you've got to keep this.
then
Spots my ring with Felix taking the time to investigate. So just
how's that?
I think you might know. Might as well.
Aaron gave it to Jaime. And as he came up to Bali, he ran right out of the tube.
You're talking about Jaime Fox.
Jaime Fox.
You're talking.
And the day came where he was, he batted number 11.
With his bat the wrong way around.
He's batted the wrong way around, and then he couldn't, and he finished batting and he came out, and when he came onto bowling, he opened the bowling and he realised he's pretty uncomfortable. Why?
Why? S one. The notice was noticed.
Take off my drive, I don't want to
Where's George?
How you doing?
How's it going?
So you are there. 6, 7, 9, 10.
Thank you. Cheers. Good evening.
I used to pick you up. Good. Andy, I'll get a letter from you once a week. That was all. Scottish Club. Why don't you come? God comes early in the morning.
One night I was...
One night.
Table number 5, right? Okay. And
Slummy, do you know where?
Lazowski has his name.
Wrong, but we'll give you.
180 for the dinner, and we're selling raffles at 20 match day.
Hey, Mark, these for 2.
I'll give you 2 tickets, and I'll give you 2 raffles. Look at your name.
Yes,
Money for tickets for the Australian.
No. Right. Well, it doesn't matter.
Very,
Right.
very difficult.
Oh no, if it's part of that, that's fine. Put it in. Well, this looks like it. We'll leave this off.
Thanks. How you doing? How's it, Jack? No, I actually can't. I'm dead. I'm serious. That's it. I think she goes for business.
My daughter immigrated on Monday. Israel. Both my daughters are here. Now I tell them that I'm available at 18.
Hey, Davey. Someone from our old team that has left in the country.
So that's our mutual relation.
does, Sam, eh? Will she give us a ticket there, buddy? And you pay for the dinner? I think Solly had it.
Yeah, how much you want?
1 kilo. You want to take some Red Bulls? Where are these from? That's from Balfour. Wasn't that? Okay, it wasn't. Okay, this was wrong. Listen to me. This was wrong. I didn't take this.
Vincent Sinovich.
You never deserved it.
As in the alley. Hi, how are you
Yes, sorry.
Paul, is Sharon still
When's the draw?
Straight.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please take your seats. There are a few ladies here tonight. I see David Copans, I see Rodney Ontong, there are quite a few ladies here tonight. Gentlemen, honoured guests, everybody here this evening, a very warm welcome to the Balfour Guild reunion dinner. Looking around here, I must be honest with you, I don't recognise too many faces, but if you'll please excuse me, I will, during the process of the evening, get to know you all much better. Yeah, I'm only 32, believe it or not, I've just had a tough upbringing. But what a special occasion is here tonight, and for Gary Bilal and his committee, what an unbelievable job they've done by getting all of you here together. I think if they could have found a venue for 2,000 people, that's how many people would have been here this evening. But it's just a great occasion, and just really nice to have you all here this evening. First of all, I'd just like you all just to raise a glass, that is, and if we just drink a toast to absent friends and those that are not with us any longer. Crime. And I'd also like you to make special mention of those who have made a special effort to attend this evening. Solly Katz, all the way from Israel. Dennis Port from Durban. Alan Simon from Durban. Roy Eckstein from Durban. And Gerald Stein, who's just had major surgery, and we all wish him a very speedy recovery. A lot of people would have loved to have been here this evening that are living overseas, and their messages come from Dennis Gamzee, Aaron and Brian Scher, Lee Friedman, Monty Friedman, Neville Berman, Ralph Silovitz, Joss Schaff, Ginger Levenstein, Ronnie Penn, Leon Slatow, and Eric Morris. Now, I'm not quite sure, for me this is a real privilege to be the MC this evening. I'm not quite sure why I was given that honor, but I'm sure a couple of the guys that did play with me during my years will know that I probably talk a good game. Also, I guess I was quite a fickle member, but it wasn't all entirely my fault. I remember I started at Balfour Park when I played soccer, under 7, under 8, under 9. I wasn't the quickest centre-back, and I just remember Joe Sidovich shouting at me every game. He was our coach at that time. He hasn't changed, correct? And ended up having nightmares every night, and finally my mother said, that's enough, we're taking you out, we're sending you to North City. So I left Balfour Park under 9, but believe you me, I had my fair share of those hot chips and Coke for 25 cents. And you can see I haven't missed a meal since. Anyway, played at North City under 12, under 14, and I think Eddie Lewis probably summed it up best when he said to me, Graham Joffe, you know what? He said, you got a lot of heart, but fuck all talent. It's funny that Eddie called me 2 years ago looking for a job in American soccer. Yeah. I said, Eddie, you're a great coach, but you're never going to make it. So eventually, after 2 years at North City, I decided to go back to your roots and back to Balfour Park. You always go back to the place you love. And there I was back at under 16. The soccer fields had moved to Fairmount, and it wasn't easy in under 16 either. I was under 16 who played practice games against the Colt side, and up front for the Colt side was guys by the name of Gregor Villa and Vaughan Buerta. I've never been headbutted at so many practice sessions. So I decided after under 16 it was time to leave Balfour again. Told you, very fickle member. And ended up going to play for Jeppy Colts. So that wasn't too bad. Cricket career, went to Highlands Boys. Actually, I don't know why I went and played at Old Eds first. And played for Old Eds for a while until every practice session the Kess boys used to just bounce me. I thought, that's enough of that. I'd rather go play for Balfour. And what a good move that was. Anyway, Balfour, I remember I was in Standard 9, and all I can remember about the practice sessions there were that I batted every time in the dark. I won't mention any names who was running the practice sessions in those days, but if I look around the room, I see a couple of them here. I'll be having a quiet word with them later on. And also, there was a guy by the name of Adrian van Vuren. I'm not too sure if all of them will remember him, but I don't remember getting a pitched-up ball either from Adrian van Vuren. But I think batting in the dark every night at practice probably helped quite a bit, because I remember probably one of my best knocks for Balfour. Everyone's probably about to laugh now, but it was under Eric Barsel. You can ask Eric himself. I think I got 90-odd and won them a game at Balfour there on Louis Botha, batting in almost pitch darkness. So if any of you doubt my cricket ability, I know probably guys are saying, what, don't talk crap. Ask Eric Barsel. I got 90-odd, I promise. And if anyone doesn't believe that I could bowl a bit as well, just ask Mark Rushmere, playing for Rhodes against Defence about 5 years ago. That was more than that, I lie. It's probably about 10 years ago. And Mark Rushmere just scored those 200s against the British Rebels. So it's Rhodes against Defence. Rushmere's facing. It's about the 7th over. And for those of you who didn't know me, I could only bowl in duckers because my action's there, like that. And Rushmere decided to pad up to one of my deliveries, and I clipped the leg side bail. Rushmere had gone for about 8 or 9. And one of the old farmers came to watch the game. He arrived a little bit late, and he went up to the scorebook, and he saw Rushmere bowl Joffe for 7. He shouted from the side, he said, Joffe, how can you bowl to the bugger when he's not looking? But I tell you now, we all have very fond memories of Balfour, especially all of you here, including myself. It was a very special place for me as well, cricket and soccer-wise. And I guess probably the most special memories I have of is the good food we used to get, teas and lunches at Balfour. And there I must make special mention of Harold Kravitz. I don't think I had a better steak and chips than at Balfour Park in the old days. And then after the games, the camaraderie, also very special. I mean, Dave Copans, the Borlels, they taught me a thing or two. I mean, I only used to drink Coke and Fanta. Well, they certainly groomed me well for Rhodes. I certainly knew what to do when I got to Grahamstown, that's for sure. And quick game of quarters never went amiss. Although they were never quick games, they used to get back at 11 or 12. I heard the guys talking a little bit earlier about how Adam Bacher got treated to a game of quarters. And I think they had him up by the collar when Izzy came to pick him up one night, and that's Adam hasn't recovered since. Anyway, let me get on to more important things here. Just to say, I wish you all a great evening, and just turn back the clock, talk about all the good times. And just one quick thing, if you do want to smoke, I know a lot of people, including David Copans, isn't very healthy. So if you do want to smoke, if some of you guys wouldn't mind smoking outside, if you wouldn't mind, that'd be great. And just to quickly say, I haven't mentioned our guest speaker for the evening, but I know in past Balfour functions we've always had a speaker who's funny, intelligent, lots of wit, who was a good sportsman in his day, but tonight we're actually breaking from tradition. And a warm welcome to Mr. Lee Barnard. All right, can I enjoy your starters? And we're just going to play a presentation of a video of some of the thoughts.
Fly me to the moon, let me gaze among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with songs, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. More than the greatest love the world has known. This is the love I give to you alone. More than the simple words I try to say. I only live to love you more each day. More than you'll ever know. My arms long to hold you, so my life will be in your keeping. Awaken, sleeping, laughing, weeping. Longer than always is a long, long time. But far beyond forever, you'll be mine. No one ever lived before, and my heart is very sure no one else could love you more. No one ever lived before, and my heart is very sure no one else could love you more. Could love you more. Could love you more. Could love you more.
Ya llegó. Presente. Here we go. Let's get loud. Let's get loud. Turn the music up. Let's do it. Come on, people. Let's get loud. Let's get loud. Turn the music up to hear that sound. Let's get loud. Let's get loud. Ain't nobody got
What's up, Balfour? Never come home. You know what's
Ready
Okay, it's fantastic to be here this evening. Unfortunately, a lot of the guys who I played Premier League with aren't here this evening. A lot have immigrated, which is a great pity, but there's still some of the guys here. We're having a great time. I was the last team to play for Balfour Park, which is incredibly sad for Jewish sport. Balfour Park personally for me gave me a huge opportunity when I was in Standard 8 to go play Premier League, to face guys like Clive Rice, all the top players in our province, which I don't think Jewish guys get that chance anymore. There's no foundation for that. Maybe this could be the start of rebuilding that. I think Jewish sport needs a huge development again, for guys to get given the opportunity that I got given. But that's maybe on a bit of a sad note, but positively speaking, there's a lot of great memories. I owe a lot of what happened to me in my South African cricket life to my start at Balfour. I was given a great opportunity, and I'll always be grateful for that.
Okay, just to Gary and Mandy and the guys, what a wonderful evening, and it's so nice to see all the old boys here. Everyone's here. It's amazing. You think everyone's immigrated, but there's still a lot of people here, and it's been wonderful. And we had wonderful days at Balfour, and it's such a pity that the Jewish youth of today aren't growing up with a Balfour Guild or a Balfour Park that they can go play cricket or hockey at and develop their games and whatever else comes with playing cricket. And I just want to say that I played some great guys in my life at Balfour. I had some wonderful times, and Bollis and Oaf and Ozzy and Saiti and all the guys from there. We really drank a lot of beer. We got really pissed, but we played some really good cricket as well, and we had good fun and good parties, and it's just wonderful being here tonight. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay. Good evening. I'd like to congratulate Gary on a wonderful job, well done. He's captured the nostalgia from the past. Otherwise, this would have been left undone and would have never been captured for the people that meant so much, and a club like Balfour that made so much impact on their lives. I personally came to Balfour after my school career, after having played rugby, and I entered into the soccer fraternity. We had some wonderful years. In 1975, we won the Transvaal Challenge Cup and the double, and many of our players went on subsequently to represent South African Maccabi. So for me, it leaves wonderful memories, and I thank Gary and his committee for a job well done. Thank you.
Yeah. On behalf of our table, you can see there's a lot of old-timers here. Ivor Katz and Barney Chilchik and Sid Novus. Those are the old-timers in your fane. But I want to say that thanks to Gary Ballell and thanks to Mandy Yackett and Norman Lieberman and his committee, we've come to one of the most outstanding affairs that I can remember. They're all the memories of Balfour Park will never die. As long as we have dinners like this, we will carry on, and the flame of Balfour Park will carry on forever. Thank you very much, and good luck to everybody.
My name's Gerald Stein. I found this evening a very emotional one and the most enjoyable. I've renewed acquaintance with people that I haven't seen in years. It's quite amazing that you live in the same town with people and you don't bump them in decades. So it's been a very fulfilling evening as far as I'm concerned. It's brought back many lovely memories. It's brought back nostalgia, and I'm deeply grateful that I was able to attend tonight. And I wish everybody who's here tonight the greatest luck. I thank the people who've organised it for this unbelievable effort they've put into it, and I congratulate them on the absolute success they've made of the evening. Thank you.
Hi guys, on behalf of the Forgotten section who are here tonight, you've got this term Balfour Guild. The guild came into it via some crowd called Brambles originally, and they're at this table. Cheers.
Hello, I want to talk on behalf of all the old hockey players who are here. You know, they spoke about the younger hockey players, but this is the real hardcore of Balfour Park of yesteryear. Look at us here, Benji Kaminer, Izzy Bacher, Cyril Weinberg, who scored the winning goal, and Joe Saka, captain of the 7th team, and Lack Ehrlich, who was there right from 1946-47, and Leo, our greatest supporter. And there's our Solly Bergen, Dr. Bergen, a lousy fullback, but he tried hard. Kobe Minsky, wonderful hockey player, and Harvey Nash. These are the people of yesteryear, and we were Balfour Park. And May Schlittman was a great supporter. He was a cricketer, but he supported the hockey. But this table is really, really Balfour Park hockey of yesteryear. Thank you.
Hello, this is Dave Bellell. I used to be a member at Balfour Park. All I can say is it is a momentous occasion. It's a wonderful getting together of old people, old friends and acquaintances. May we live to see another occasion, but I doubt it very much. God bless.
Of course, the previous speaker, I think that it is the most amazing affair that I've ever been to, and the spirit is marvelous. Thank you, Jack Tradesman.
Okay. Just on behalf of the table, I'd like to thank you for a wonderful evening and all the very, very best. And we certainly do miss Balfour Park. It's been wonderful to us in the previous years in the past. And all the very, very best. And thanks for the invite, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Gary, this is a fantastic evening. Arnie Port from the tennis section. And with this, I'd just like to remember men like Joe Greenberg, Eddie Walpert and Aaron, who played an important part in everyone's life at the tennis section. They basically took us off the streets and made us to what we are today. And this night, I'm sure they are with us in spirit and only wishing us well. And to the rest of the members, have a great time.
We're sitting at a table here with all the straight football players. We have straight players, we have referees, we have cricketers at this table, all the people from Balfour Park. Even runners. Some of them think they're runners, some of them aren't runners, some of them are canoeists. Novik was a great canoeist, probably better than a goalkeeper. He saved more people drowning in the water than he did. But to Balfour Park, a fantastic effort, and to Gary Bellell and Leon Grupp and everybody who arranged this get-together. I think Balfour is steeped in history, and to all those people who were part of it, big shakar to them and mazel tov to everybody concerned.
Okay. On behalf of Table 5, Balfour Park, wonderful evening, bringing back fantastic memories. And just also a special thought for all the guys, especially my contemporaries, who are not here tonight. Most of them have gone overseas. I'm thinking a lot about them and all those fantastic matches that we used to have. Thank you very much.
You know, can I go? My fondest memory is bouncing Joffy in the net. That's great to be here. It's really long overdue. It's really a very, very special evening. Like so many people before, we also have very fond memories of Balfour Guild. I grew up there, learnt a lot there, made a lot of great friends, played a lot of great sport there. And I think certainly learnt how to drink the odd beer or two as well. But it's just great to be a part of this whole special occasion. And thank you to Gary Bellell and his committee for setting up such a wonderful.
I think this has been a wonderful occasion tonight. It's been great to see many people here that we haven't seen for many, many years. And it is a little bit sad to know that this may be the last dinner that they're having. But in any case, it's been fantastic, and thanks very much to the organizer and everyone involved. Cheers.
Thanks to Gary Bellell. It's a fantastic function. Very, very well done. I hope that Balfour is never forgotten. I'd love Balfour to be re-erected. Unfortunately, I know that it's gone. But the memories that will stay with me forever will be there. And thank you very much, and Gary, very, very well done. Cheers.
Hi, it's really great to be here, especially amongst all the friends, and really feel privileged that there are so many people still around who can enjoy this evening. Should have more of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ilan. As a current player and chairman of Balfour Park Cricket Club, I'd like to say it's great to see such a great event and see all the old people like Max Schneier back at the club. Just to let people know that we've still got a cricket side running and any funds are more than welcome. We try and get money from the Reuben brothers, but because their pockets are longer than their hands, we don't get much. But it's great to see the spirit, and hopefully as a cricket club and as a part of Balfour Park we can keep that going for some time to come. Thanks very much.
An honour to be here, to see all the guys that I know from the past, and to those that organised this too, well done. And I hope one day we'll all get to see everyone once again, and well done once again from me, and I'm sure all the people around me. Thank you.
Hi, Mackie Glaser, go back to Balfour Park from 1952 onwards, played a part in the bowls and made many, many friends in the club, in all the sections, in the hockey, not in the hockey, in the squash and bowls actually. Wonderful camaraderie. This was a great club. It's an institution, and to be at this gathering tonight is a thrill. Thank you very much, and a real mazel tov to the organisers who have done a wonderful job. Thank you.
That really was a wonderful period in my life. Happy, happy days. Some wonderful administrators who loved the game passionately, and particularly Balfour Park cricket. The late Ruby Arzen, a most wonderful man. My father-in-law, late Tooks Teague, another magnificent man. And Abe Levenstein, I saw him the other day. He's over 80 years of age and he looked so jolly good. These are wonderful people, and many others who really gave their life to Balfour Park cricket. It wasn't a social club. It was a club imbued with tremendous camaraderie and good team spirit, where people were committed to excellence on the field of play. And we had a very successful period in Transvaal cricket. We were certainly one of the premier teams, and I can remember my first year as captain, and well, I was 20, and to their credit, they gave me an opportunity to lead their team, and we lost our first 4 games on a trot, and then won the next 13. I think we lost the last game, but ultimately we won the championship. So that was wonderful times for me. Team practices on Tuesday and Thursdays, terrific attendances. 30, 40 people would all come. People would catch buses to come to team practice, and it really was a wonderful period. There was some magnificent players at that time, Lee Irvin in particular, a dashing player, a world-class player. I think in South African cricket people have never really realised what a fine player he was. He was world-class in my opinion. And we had Richard Dumbrell, a top all-rounder who really gave 100% to Balfour Park cricket, and many others. I think of Joe Hansen, I think of Lou Harris, who was a dapper left-hand batsman and really gave me wonderful support because he was the experienced player in our team. Archie Wilson, Terence Daly, many others, and it really was a terrific period for me, a very happy period, and I would just like to thank all those colleagues that I played with and the administrators for giving me 10 years or thereabout of wonderful support when I was captain of Transvaal and captain of South Africa. And I think probably the best part of that club was, although it started off as a Jewish club, the players that I played with, it was almost a 50-50 Gentile Jewish component to the team. And we got on so well, and it showed once again that sport is such an important medium, probably the best medium to bring different peoples together, different religions together.
We had 5,000 people sometimes watching us play in various games. There are certain incidents that do come to mind, which I could bring forth. One really comes to mind, where the delightful doctor was in his inimitable form. And we were playing Johnnies. I don't know, many people may remember this. There were about 3,000 people. It was a bit of an overcast day, and they bowled us out for 79. And after tea, we put them in, and there was a guy, Richard Dumbrell, a superb Springbok fast bowler, bowling from the one end. Anyway, the score was 21 for 3. Dumbrell had 3 wickets for no runs, and I had no wickets for 21 runs. And the run-up was a little bit damp, and Ali came up to me and he said to me, so I said, there's a bit nervous with each other, a bit run-up is a little bit too damp for you. I think at the end of the side, I got a third man being Joe on from this side. He said, that's great. Subsequently, within the next 3 balls, we had Sacco caught, Brian Clark bowled in a diving catch that stuck from nowhere with Mackay Coggill out for a hat-trick. Bacher came running across and hugging and kissing and well bowled, and they were 21 for 6. And I was excited, I'm going to get another over, and it's now time to bowl. Never mind how wet the run-up was, I'm going to bowl. End of the over came, time for the next over. Ali walked up to Joe and said, Joe, this can't bowl from this side. I was moved up to Ali and said, are you mad? I've just taken a hat-trick. Should I get another over? Nothing there. It's the first time now. You've done exceptionally well, done the job, extremely well. I know you've handled it, but now you've done your job well, bowled extremely well. I'm very proud of you, the way you bowled. But this guy on the third man, Joe, come bowl from this side. I said, you can't do this. I've just taken that. Nonetheless, done your job well, have a good bowl, go down to the far side. And that was one of my most incredible experiences with the good doctor during a cricket match.
Live the life we choose, we'd fight and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days.
My first exposure to Balfour was when my late mom used to coach the women's hockey team, and I went down on a Tuesday and Thursday night. I was about 12 years old. And the guys were practicing at the same time, and they asked me to join them, and that was really the start of my hockey career. In fact, at the time I was playing rugby at school, but I ended up playing hockey at Balfour Park. First memories there were playing for the late Solly Tabak's team. There were a lot of youngsters, his son David, a few others of us, and we used to travel to all parts of Johannesburg and even out Fenter's Post and whatever to play, and slowly climbed up the ladder. I remember very clearly on the hockey side waiting eagerly for the weekly newsletter to see which squad we'd been chosen in and where we would be practicing and playing that weekend. It was at that time that I was exposed to great hockey players like Neville Berman, Richard Carew, Aaron Scher, Colin Bernstein, Colin Berman, Brian Scher, guys that were either Springboks or very near Springboks. And it was just amazing, the atmosphere, the learning process, it was really tremendous. From the cricket side, my first exposure to Balfour was one Saturday morning I got a call from Richard Traceman to let me know that his side was short. It was the third or fourth side, I don't remember, and could I make up the numbers. So I was the only guy in short pants. I think I was 13 at the time. I ended up playing in shorts. The rest of the guys had longs, obviously, and that was my start of my cricket career at Balfour. After that I continued playing league. It was really great. Again, played with tremendous players. Unfortunately I missed playing out with Ali, but I missed out playing with Ali, but I played with Lee Irvin, I played with others, Miles Conti, Mervyn Simon, Graham Field, guys that played provincial and South African cricket. I just remember the old Balfour atmosphere, that old change room, the grandstand with the change rooms underneath, the late Gerald Steckel running around, telling us what shots we should play. And it was really very, very fond memories of playing at Balfour, and then even at playing at the Jewish Guild, Balfour Guild, when we amalgamated. Obviously the facilities were not the same as the old Balfour Park, particularly the hockey field, but it was really great. Again, Richard Carew, a few of the old hockey players came across to the Guild, and we tried to keep the club going for a couple of years. We managed, and then even when I came out the army, we managed to revive the club and played Premier League hockey for 3 or 4 years, but unfortunately it then folded. So I have great fond memories of Balfour and the Guild.
Hi, this is Neville Berman, coming to you from Israel. I've been asked to send a short message on the occasion of the Balfour Park reunion. And I'm very happy indeed to be able to do so, but sad at the same time that I'm not able to be at the dinner itself. Balfour Park was always something special to me, and at the age of 13 I joined the Balfour Park hockey section to play in the E side. We had some real old gentlemen playing in that side, like Jaime Light, who gave me my first real lesson in hockey, other than the lessons learned from my dad. Anyway, I soon progressed to the first team, and eventually I went to play at university. And when I look back on all my playing careers, I think one of the highlights of my hockey career was the decision to play at Balfour Park after Balfour Park had been relegated to the second league. I think that it's the only time that a Springbok hockey captain was playing in the second league in South African history. In any case, Balfour Park had wonderful experiences for me, and I'll always carry these memories with me for the rest of my life.
Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days. Oh yes, those were the days.
Well, what Balfour Park meant to me, and not only to me but to everybody basically, that was our home. It was a home from home. Most of us came from Bloemfontein, Bertram, Yeovil, Orange Grove and Highlands North, and Balfour Park was a mecca for Jewish sportsmen in those days. Just to go back slightly in the history, Balfour Park was really formed in 1935 when the Maccabi team came back from Israel, and they needed a home for sportsmen, and Norman Lurie got a grant for the ground that we're on now, which was actually farmland. And that's how it developed. It was called Maccabi Park in those years, and then later it was renamed to Balfour Park after Lord Balfour from the Balfour Declaration. I joined Balfour Park in 1947, under 16 soccer player. In those days we only started under 16, not under 6 like it is today. And the life there was just something else. We learned sportsmanship, we learned about how to play the game, how to appreciate the game, and being mainly Jewish players, we actually were tremendous because we had a lot of opposition in those years, and for Jewish boys to come through to show South Africa that the Jews can play sport, Balfour Park was that fulcrum, was that area. I think many of us, our characters were built because of Balfour Park, because of men like Nicky Mathers, because of men like Tuxi Tiga and Ruby Osram, who molded us into people. And in later years, in real life, it proved to be a great boost. What do we do without Balfour Park? I don't know. I think it would have been a life without living, because that was our life.
Well, I came to Johannesburg in 1969, having won the league in Durban as captain of Brea Rovers, and so I was quite careful as to where I wanted to play my cricket. And I decided on Balfour Park because of Ali Bacher. He was the national captain. He was a brilliant guy, and I wanted to learn from him. So I joined Balfour, not really knowing too much about it. And very quickly I was absorbed into the culture of the club. We had the best supporters of all. We used to get thousands of spectators, and you can't believe it today when you don't even get that for a provincial game. But we used to have this hardcore of people supporting us week after week. And while we never won the league, we were always competitive, and we always gave the biggest clubs a run for their money. But the most important thing to me was the spirit, the friends that I've made, the lifelong friends that are still around, most of them, and I'll never forget that. Therefore, I was a member of when I played for South Africa, so I owe them a tremendous debt of gratitude. I owe Ali Bacher just an unbelievable debt, because he was the man who took me in, he was the man who gave me my head, allowed me to keep wicket, and he eventually made me captain of, vice captain of Transvaal and Balfour, and then I captained Balfour after him, and that was a very daunting task, because he was just such an awesome captain and a person. So everything, Abe Levenstein, Tuxi Tiga, all of those old people who ran the club made sure it was efficiently run, and we had great facilities available to us, and as a result, I would never forget my experience at Balfour Park.
I matriculated at the end of 1944 at Kearsney College in Natal. My parents then had a tea room in Louiswater Avenue in Orange Grove. When I was always mad keen on cricket. I was actually the official scorer when I was about 9 years old for Tech College Old Boys in Durban, which was captained by Bob Williams, who was the reserve wicketkeeper to Jock Cameron in the 1935 tour to England. When I came up here, the first thing I wanted to do was join a Jewish cricket club. And I heard of Balfour Park, so I took a bus to Highlands North, and I went to the club. In those days, they only had a sand ground and matting wickets. And a match was in progress. So I went up to the players who were in the pavilion, and I said I wanted to join the club. And a fellow said to me, well, you'd have to speak to the skipper. He's out there batting now, but don't worry, he won't be very long. He said. So the skipper he was referring to was the late Tuxi Tiga. And the chap I spoke to was the late Abe Smith. Now it so happened I had an appointment with a lawyer to get articles on the Monday. When I spoke to Tuxi Tiga, he said to me, listen, if you don't get articles with that chap, I'm in the same building, come and see me. And you better come to a practice on Tuesday. So I went to the other guy, the other lawyer, and he wanted a £500 premium to article me. And of course, a man didn't have 500 bob. So I then went to the practice the next day, and I firmly believe to this day that Tuxi Tiga only decided to article me once he'd seen me batting in the nets. But I must say that I came to admire him as one of nature's real gentlemen. He was a great human being, and he always said to me, Gerald, not good enough to have an educated mind, you've also got to have an educated heart. And that's how I started at Balfour Park.
Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose, we'd fight and never lose.
believe I joined Balfour Park in about 1946, and firstly because I knew lots of the members who had already joined Balfour Park, and secondly we lived in Hines North, at the time, and it was very convenient, and it was nice to be part of a club that started right from the bottom and worked its way up. I think nearly every sport that was played at Balfour Park achieved first league status, and it was wonderful to belong to a club like that. It's probably true that in the beginning Balfour Park was regarded by most of the population of Johannesburg as a Jewish club, but that wasn't so at all. There was no restriction on membership. Most of the time that I spent at Balfour Park, my activities were confined to the cricket section because that's the sport that I love most, and have in fact had over 50 years of cricket administration, sitting on the Balfour Park Cricket Committee and 20 years on the Transvaal Cricket Board. But while I was on the committee, a wonderful thing happened. There was suddenly an influx, if that's the correct word, of non-Jewish players. And they were warmly welcomed, and we respected each other's religions, and we got to know each other. And really some great friendships were cemented at Balfour Park from both sides. So it was really, I think, a wonderful thing for this country, even at that time. It was a place that you just felt so much at home, and you made so many friends, and I'm very nostalgic about the Balfour Park days, and while I'm still around in this world, I shall never forget those days because they were really, really happy days.
As a youngster coming down from Zambia in the late 60s, I think Balfour Park was a great institution of sport, of friendship, and one can talk about all the characters that were there. Being involved mainly in the hockey side, a lot of my fondest memories, I would say, is really on the cricket side, but there are a lot of cricket stories being told, so I'll concentrate on the hockey side. Having played under the great Neville Berman, I think he was an institution for South African hockey in those days, and he really built up an academy of youngsters that went on to greater heights. Maybe myself, Mandy Yachert, and a lot of guys played provincial hockey through Balfour Park. Trying to rack my memories of characters, if there's still a few of us first team players from the old days around, one can remember Abe Snoyman before the games, always bringing us lots and lots of chewing gum with his dog, all the supporters we had, and possibly one of my finest memories, the first year the Balfour Park got back into Premier League. They got relegated to Reserve League, and the side was consistent of 6 schoolboys and 5 older guys, and we were playing Old Johnnies. It was the top of the league clash. It was midway through the season and neither side had lost, and the papers went overboard about who was going to win. It was going to be age versus youth, and it was quite fascinating. It must have been the biggest hockey crowd I have ever seen in South Africa, and that's including test matches. We played Johnnies at the top field at Johnnies, and I think there must have been about 4,000 to 5,000 people watching that game. And in our side we had Brian Punchy Sher, who was only 17 at the time, and he was playing centre forward for us, and Alan Corrigan, the former Springbok hockey captain, was marking him as centre half. And Corrigan was at the end of his career, and he was a bit fat and slow, but he was always chirping old Punchy. And I'll never forget this. Halfway through the match, Punchy, a 17-year-old kid, turns around to the old former Springbok hockey captain and says, "What the hell are you moaning about? What I've forgotten about hockey, you've still got to learn." I mean, that typified the chutzpah, the spirit we had in that side. We were trailing 2-1 at the time, and it must have been 5 minutes after that comment. Punchy got the ball on the halfway line. He ran through the whole Johnny's defence from the halfway line and scored from the most acute angle you would ever believe you could score from to level at 2-all. I mean, the crowd erupted. It was like a Wembley Cup final. We unfortunately lost that game 4-2. We came second in the league, but that was really a fond memory. There's fond memories of everybody we played with, the hockey friendships made. And for me, it's very sad today that there aren't many more clubs like Balfour Park around, old boy clubs included. I mean, the only one in Joburg at the moment that's really running strong, two of them is Jeppy and Old Parks. But every time I drive past Balfour Park Shopping Centre, there's always a bit of heartache to think, hell, we really, really had good times there. And at the time, maybe you don't think you're having such a fantastic time, but now, getting older, a little bit wiser, you look back and you think, gee, fantastic time, fantastic club, fantastic friends, and I'm looking so forward just to seeing everybody again, chatting over a beer and laughing about the good old days, and just meeting everybody again.
You know, being part of a club setup has enriched my life many times over. The one aspect of being involved with a club like Balfour was the way the club managed to bridge the age gap. I started playing cricket when I was 14 at the club, and I played for the Balfour fourth side that was captained by Abe Levenstein. And not only did you learn to play with men of a generation or two older than you, but you learned to respect them. But the greatest feature, I thought, was the benefit and the knowledge of cricket that was passed down the generations from the senior players. It wasn't a case of only playing with a certain age group, but playing with the senior players managed to bring out a love for the game and an insight into the traditions and the characters of the game. So it wasn't only a case of learning the technicalities, keeping your arm up straight, getting your foot to the pitch of the ball, but learning kind of insight into the game and what it means, the camaraderie, the characters around which the game was built. And this ability to bridge the age gap, I believe, was one of the strongest features of the club, because as the years went by, those guys like myself who then gradually became senior players, we saw that in the youngsters.
Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose. We'd fight and never lose. For we were young and sure to have our way.
On this particular occasion, I greet you with happiness, but at the same time with sadness, that Balfour Park no longer exists in its original form. I wish you one and all everything that you wish yourself, and hope to meet on happy occasions. It is with extreme happiness and pride that I send you this message this evening. I am happy that after all these years, my work for Balfour Park has not been forgotten. And proud because of the fact that Balfour Park meant so much to so many others that you are able to get this evening together. I would like to thank Gary and all those members who helped arrange this evening. It couldn't have been easy. And my biggest regret is that I have to send you this message on tape and that I could not be with you in person.
Before we get to our guest speaker for this evening, the video tonight, there is a video that is being made of the whole dinner. If anybody would like a copy of the video, there is a card, I think, on your table and at the back as well of the company that are doing it. So if you would like a video of this evening, there is a number to call as well. And then also with regards to raffle tickets, there will be someone walking around, or I believe there are raffle tickets on the table. So if you would like to, please purchase some raffle tickets, and the draw for those will be done after the dinner. Just before we get to our very esteemed guest speaker, I'd just like to tell you a story about poor Les Evans and Gary Borlell the other day. They went into hospital for vasectomy. It's a very sad state of affairs. And they went into hospital the day of the vasectomy, and the nurse said to them, "Look, guys, take off all your clothes and put on your white coats." Anyway, they did that. They put on their white coats. They went into the operating theatre, and just before they were about to have the operation, the nurse went to Gary first and put her hand right underneath his white coat and grabbed his genitals. Anyway, Gary thought, whoa, my lucky day. Should have had a vasectomy 10 years ago. Anyway, she carries on going. Gary says, well, you know, what is going on here? Well, she said, to have a successful vasectomy, you've got to make sure that your body is clear of all sperm. Anyway, he says, okay. Anyway, the nurse continues, and Gary manages to rid himself of all his sperm. And then the nurse goes over to Les Evans. And she goes to Les, and suddenly she buries her head underneath his white coat. So suddenly Les is getting the better part of the deal, is getting oral sex. Can't believe he's lucky either. First time in about 30 years. So, but now Gary's a little bit offended, and he says to the nurse, "Excuse me, ma'am, I mean, what's the deal here? How come I got what I got, and suddenly this guy Les is getting preferential treatment?" So the nurse says to him, "Well, I'm sorry, sir, that's the difference between Sanlam Health and Discovery Health." Which just reminds me quickly about the three guys that are about to go to prison for life. They've been incarcerated and they're about to go to prison, and they're on the bus to the prison. And basically, before they get to the jail gates, they're allowed to take one item with them which they can spend which they can use during their incarceration. Anyway, it's an Australian, a Frenchman, and an Israeli. Anyway, the Frenchman first pulls out his one item, and he pulls out a box of paint, or a couple different color paints. Anyway, the Israeli and Australian look at him and they go, why would you take paint? He says, because I want to become the Claude Monet of this prison. Anyway, the Australian and Israeli look at him and go, interesting. The Israeli then decides to pull out his one item, and he pulls out a deck of cards. And the guys look at him and they go, well, what are you doing with a deck of cards? He goes, well, I just want to make sure that I spend my time, and I have lots to do, and I can play gin rummy, I can play patience, I can play clubbias, I can play a whole bunch of different games. Anyway, the Australian looks at him, the Frenchman looks at him, can't really, they say, okay, very nice. Anyway, then the Australian comes along, and he pulls out his one item, and he pulls out a box of tampons. So anyway, they look at him, and they can't understand, oh, what is he doing with a box of tampons? And they say to him, well, what are you doing with a box of tampons? He says, look on the box. It says, I can swim, I can ride, and I can rollerblade. Gentlemen, it's now time to bring on our guest speaker, a guy that played cricket for South Africa, a guy that is a very talented rugby player as well, played many seasons for Transvaal. He was one of my idols when he played at fly half. And also a brilliant cricketer. I don't think I had the opportunity of playing against him, but maybe that was fortunate because I believe he could stroke the ball all over the place. I also do believe, though, that he had the unfortunate or the misfortune of playing a lot against Sylvester Clarke, and I believe he did take quite a few in the box. So if you don't recognise his voice this evening, you know why. Ladies, well, no ladies. Oh, Dave Copans is here. Gentlemen, I would like now to put your hands together for our guest speaker this evening, Mr. Lee Barnard.
Gentlemen, and Rodney Anton, I can't tell you what a daunting task it is having to follow Graham Joffrey as a guest speaker on TV. But I'll tell you the reason I'm here tonight. because I'm for free. And it happens every time. They get your mates to phone you. I ended up, the last 2 years that I played first class cricket, sharing a room with Mandy Yachat. And it was good from one point of view because he kept me straight. And he kept me sober in times where the game had got to my mind. In fact, one night a girl phoned me. And Drax intercepted the call. And instead of saying, Barney has a call for you, he said, he's busy, and put the phone down and said, Lee, it's a girl, I'm not happy with it. I said, Drax, can I be the judge of who's happy and who's not? It's only happened twice in my career, Doctor. But it's a great privilege, I want to tell you. I walked in tonight totally unprepared because Jax had said to me, this is a little number, do you mind? And I was going to be the MC. And obviously the guest speaker was going to cost you 10 grand. And we both so you pay Joffrey the 5 grand and now I'm doing the... But I got into King Edward's, I think because I looked like a bacher. Not because I could play like one, but I took the holidays, which was a major... So King Edward's had this coloured yoke who could nick him to third slip easily. But for me, it started with the Levensteins, I want to tell you. And to see Brian Levenstein tonight, and Brian, I think standard 4, we first met in the King Edward's nets, and it was a trial match for the Jeff Treadwell week for the Transvaal Primary School team. And I'd come from the northern western suburbs, and it was the first time I'd ever seen King Edward's, and they put me into bat there, and I remember getting bowled out first ball, and they had these metal stumps. And you couldn't sort of, you get wooden stumps and you get nick it off, you can't hear it, but metal stumps when you get bowled, boy, you're out. And I thought I would never ever see the team. And to me, Brian Levenstein and Abe and Jeff, that started me off King Edward's. And I remember LB During was our coach under 13, under 14, made this team, and we had a simple strategy because we used to just let Brian bowl his legs out. And eventually, Albie came up to me and he said to me, he goes, Captain Barnard, do you put much thought in your captaincy? And I said, yeah, I try to, sir. Why? He said, because why do you bowl Michael Critchley for 2 hours and let Levenstein bowl the rest of the afternoon? I said, because we win that way, sir. But to walk in tonight and to see the old Balfour people, I thought it was going to be... And I know why you guys eventually didn't have a ground, because the committee kept on developing the park that you're playing on. Every year we played, the ground got smaller. I think we ended up at Morningside, so that Mandy could hit sixes, because then you had to go 20 meters and he had a six, the bastard. But it's been wonderful. I first met Dr. Bacher, I think captaining the King Edward's team, and it was in the Nuffield week. And I think one thing that Ali has always done, and I think South African cricket, Doctor, without saying too much, is going to be poorer for it, has always taken care about his players. At whatever level, at whatever time, he's been there for all of us. I remember him coming up to me one day at the Wanderers Oval, and we had a tea break, we were fielding in the afternoon, and he walked up to me and he said, why is your gully so square? Seriously, and I'd never ever thought, and I kept in cricket teams for 5 or 6 years. I think it was 7, in fact, because I spent an extra year in Matric. And that compulsory 7th year, to make sure you knew what was happening, you know. And Doc said, why is your gully so square? And I never ever thought of having a gully in any other position. And he said, you got to take into account the pace of the wicket. And if the wicket's faster, your gully needs to be a little bit narrower. And I swear, Doc, I don't think I ever put a gully in position for the next 20 years of my life without thinking of you. And it's about the people, you know. It's about the people. I phoned a mate of mine, Gordon McMillan, who played cricket with us a couple of weeks back, and he asked me for my cell phone number. And I said 082 55 44 050, and he wrote it down, and then he said to me, it sounded like your last 8 knocks for Northerns. That's the type of mate you get out of this game, isn't it? But I ended up playing a bit of league cricket at the old Balfour Park there behind the Clicks store now, the Pick and Pay. And as a young, impressionable bloke, Sunday morning cricket, you know, it was wonderful to be able to play cricket on Sundays. Under 15, I think we were at Cairns, playing in the second team. And one of the fiercest opening bowlers I ever faced for 2.5 overs was Percy Gosha. If you could survive 11 balls with Percy, you were set for the day, because after that he was wheezing and heaving and fucking and this and that. But he didn't make it any easier, I want to tell you. Yeah? And then I got to play in the Premier League, and often played against Balfour. Rodney Ontong ended up playing for Balfour, and I don't know how that happened. Really, eh? Another coloured yock playing so playing for the Fives, not against the Fives. Jesus. I met Rodney Ontong on a Rowan's Rangers tour in East London, where he was living in East London and had been playing some cricket in England. And I never forget, he always had the neatest kit, Rodney. He still got the neatest kit. You know, with Rodney, it was never if you won or lost, but how you looked while you were doing it. Very smooth. And to sum up the game of cricket, the first day I played against him, I remember him flicking Doug Nielsen out the ground for 6. It was a marvellous cricket shot. And he walked into the change room after that day and sat down, and I had a beer with him, and we've been the best of mates ever since, to the extent that he's the godfather of my son. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but at least he might be a decent dresser. Might be okay with the opposite sex as well. But it was a great amount of fun. But playing Premier League cricket against Balfour, this is before I met Jackson, more about him later, but one of the blokes who always stood out to me was Mervyn Goldsmith, who was never the biggest bloke in the world, but used to charge in, and for me has always been an inspiration, Mervyn, as to how hard he tried, and how every single ball and every single hour that he played, it was a great challenge. And he still looks the same, Mervyn. He's a little more hunchback. He always had a hunchback Mervyn. Just a tad lower. Then I got to play with Mandy Yachat, and yeah, I've often been asked who the best players I ever played with, and I was fortunate enough to play a little bit of rugby in the winter as well, and I was exposed to international rugby players, international cricketers, and I guess you'd have to probably say somewhere between Graham Pollock, who played at Old Eds with us, and was an unbelievable man to play cricket with. Whatever, as anyone has said about Graham Pollock, to play cricket with a man was a huge privilege. And I played with Raymond Mort, I think, in the winter, who in many ways had Graham Pollock's skills, but was probably more blue-collar than Graham. Graham, a little aristocratic about it, and he was quite difficult to get close to. Raymond Mort was a wonderful bloke to be having in the trenches, and he suffered us fools more lightly than perhaps Graham did. But I think this bloke Yachet, I swear to God, runs both of those men a close second. I remember captaining Northern's, early days captaining Northern Transvaal, and Drax was in the army playing with us. And I think you talk about a man of principle. And we had a man of the match award. And I think always these man of the matches, all these kitties in cricket should go into a kitty and get divided into 12, you know. But we'd won our first ever Currie Cup match as Northerns in Durban. And Jax was playing in the game. Dave Richardson, who went on to serve our country so well, was in that team, and had made 100 in the second innings of the game to win the game for us. And he got the man of the match stuff, and he was in the army, and I don't know, like $300 or so. And in my wisdom, I said, well, I think David deserves this money, and I gave him the cash. And a couple of boys looked at it. Drax quietly came up to me afterwards, and in sort of fifth year Wits University legal speak, I said, Barney, I think you fucked this up quietly. And it was something I never forgot. It's a lesson I learnt, and never made that mistake again. And ended up playing many, many wonderful years of game of cricket with the Drax. You know, had that sort of perfect boy Drax, eh? BCom, LLB, triple Springbok, eh? Indoor hockey, outdoor hockey, SA cricket. Made 100 on debut, was stone dead out for naught. First ball, LBW Bold Mosley. Old Balfour Park luck, 110, you know. Eh? That had been Barney or Ontong, out. And you also had the humour, Drax, you know. We had a time when we had the Rebel Tours, and we had these overseas players, and they were fascinating guys to play with. The Australians, we had a wonderful Australian player from Northern, Michael Haseman, and we had a couple of West Indians. I loved the West Indians. We loved Sylvester Clark. He was a wonderful bloke to have in the team. And the problem with Clarkie that he never pitched on time. You know, he always used to be 3 or 4 weeks into the season. I used to have to go and pick him up at the airport, and he never used to pitch. You know? And the first year he played at Northerns, it was a struggle for him. He had to come into a seriously white environment, and we were a bit nervous as to how he would react. We were nervous because he had signed 2 contracts coming into that. He had signed for Transvaal, Free State, Province. So we were never sure whether he was arriving at Joburg or Durban or Gallagher. But he was a great bloke, and after his second season doing the same thing, boys were nervous. We said, let Clarkie, please just invite him into our environment. You know, he's a black man in a white environment. This is Willie Basson, our boss. You know, just ease him into it. So when he eventually arrived at the Nets, I went up to him, Clarkie, lovely to have you here. Mike Haseman, Australian, said, you're 3 fucking weeks late, you black guy. Which kind of broke the ice a bit, but Drax was a little more subtle. He just said, welcome black. But having shared a room with Drax was also an interesting exercise, because on occasions Drax used to get the books out and in the morning have the odd little prayer, and I inherited this from Sylvester because I didn't know anything about it either. And Clarkie came once to us, and in the morning he came down to the nets and he was shaking his head. I said, what's wrong? He said, I think I'm sharing a room with the judge. Yeah, a lot of fun, you know. Ali eventually, I don't know how, but sent me on a tour. 1979 doc, remember Barclays Bank? in the height of the hard times in our country, he somehow sent me as captain of a non-racial team to England, sponsored by Barclays Bank, where we had 3 blacks, 3 whites, 3 colours, 3 Indians. After 4 hours on that trip, Doc, I knew our country had problems, let me tell you. We had a 15-year-old Indian bloke in the team who refused salmon because he was kosher. We had this wonderful bloke, Duncan Stamper, who had given a lot of himself to play on our side of the fence because he wanted to play good cricket. And he was a wonderful man. I don't know where he is today, but he sacrificed a lot. He had a lot of trouble from his own community, he had a lot of trouble with the cops for playing so-called white cricket. But we were playing at Arundel Castle, this magnificent ground, probably the best ground any of us had ever played on at that stage. And one of the white guys dropped a catch of him in about the 4th over of the match. And he called me up from slip. Thank God it wasn't me who dropped the catch. He said, "Captain," he said, "the whiteys are dropping my catches on purpose." Then when I phoned Ali and said, "Thanks for sending me on this tour, Doc. It's been a real learning curve." I ended up meeting Richard Carew, working for Adidas. And I used to give kit away. It was the most popular time of my whole sporting career. I had lots of mates because they used to get free boots out of me. But I remember being with Adidas in Bloemfontein, one of the IPTs, Richard and the Natal guys. I had a bit of an expense account, but I went to bed one night and I got a phone call. I was dossing in my bed, it was before television. Phone rang. And the guy started singing, "Thank you for the sandwiches, 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 thank you for the sandwiches, jolly old soul." And I put the phone, didn't know what it was like, but next morning on my bill, the Natal Miners, 24 castles, 24 toasted salmis on my bill. So thank you for the sponsors. I then got to meet Lee Irvin, one of the best cricketers our country has ever produced. And I have a few memories about Lee, and one of the most remarkable memories was in my first year as a Transvaal cricketer. It was Lee's last year, and on his last trip to PE, was he's going to be his last tour. He had said and he requested that he share a room with me, and there I was, the youngster in the team, and Bertie, the time you took that weekend to just share, and we spent hours just talking cricket. You know, at the time, I thought I could spend the hours better in a pub somewhere, but I've never forgotten that, Bert, and to be able to play with these guys, you know. I ended up, unfortunately, the only tours I got with this country was as a veteran. And it was remarkable. We had a tour to India. I captained the development team to India, and we made no money. The following year, the A team went. They made about 30 grand each, and I didn't make the team. So I was very disillusioned by that. But the year we went, Bertie, and again, I'd sort of missed him because he would finish his cricket, and I didn't know enough about him, and we ended up sharing a room together. And I'll never forget the amount of work that Lee Irvin did. And then as a toppy. Seriously. Not because of his hairdo, but he's a toppy the size. You know? How much effort he put in to organize a trip. He worked tirelessly day and night to make us all have a good trip. And we arrived in Mumbai, and Bertie's my roomie. So I want to see the sights here. So he said, "I'll show you the sights." And he took me on a taxi drive around Bombay. And I got this place called the Gateway to India, and I thought it was a major world landmark, but there's a circle in front of it. So we're in this taxi, and we're going to this circle, and I thought we might stop and take a few happy snaps. We were in the taxi. We would rather circle back to the hotel. He said, "That's a great gateway of India. You've seen it now. We're going back to the hotel." And we ended up in Delhi, fourth world town, and we were going shopping. Any of you know Leo Van Newell? He got a serious pigeon toe, or the left foot toe. He doesn't quite walk that straight. He goes left. And we're walking down this road, and there's millions of pigeons in the trees. We're walking along, and all of a sudden, on his white Docksider Bertie, the biggest turd you ever did see, green turd. And you were looking, and I was quite wondering how it had missed his head, because his left foot was so far in. I said, these parrots are big over in this country. And as the turd hit his foot, there was a little Indian bloke came up to him and said, "Clean your shoes, sir." And Lee said, "Oh, it's not a bad idea, 50 rupees." We hadn't walked another 5 meters, we hit another one. And little did we know, these guys worked in pairs. One oak with a shoe brush, one oak with a turd. and you guys thought you were smart at marketing, eh? It's been a wonderful experience, guys, and it's very sad that the Bell Fives don't have a cricket team competing in our Premier League, and who knows, maybe with what we see here tonight and the spirit we see here tonight, it can be revived. If I can just conclude with one little saying that we always use in our cricket, in our change room. It says that quality is never by chance, but is always the result of intellectual effort. There has to be the will to produce something different. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Barney, thank you very much. And it's funny, I'm sitting next to Gary Bullell. He said, "Not only are you doing this for free, but you owe us money now." Jeez, now, Barney, it's been an absolute pleasure, but I must just tell you, though, the only reason why I'm taking it out on him, Stefan Jacobs, is his benefit season, and the other day it was his golf day, and I managed to get the nod to be the guest speaker, and Barney was the MC, and he introduced me by saying, "Well, our guest speaker is here to speak his mind, so here to say 3 words is Graham Joffe." So it's 1-1, Barney. All right, ladies, Dave Copans, you're still here. Why I'm picking on Dave Copans, he was my head boy when I think I was in about Form 1. He stole every sandwich I ever had at first break. Can you believe that, Dave? Everyone's sticking you away. Almost big enough for group insurance. On to a very special part of this evening. I don't think many people know about this, but we're going to be awarding some very special honours to those people that have made significant contributions to South Africa, and these are all Balfour Park members, Balfour Guild members, and it's very special to have them here this evening as well. And just to apologise though for the video, I will take responsibility. There were some air raids going on when we did do the video. And also just to let people know that I know the Brambles and a lot of people that weren't around maybe when I was around, I was only born in '68, no one was supposed to be left out, but I will take responsibility. But everyone is a part of this evening, and we are very grateful to have all the Brambles guys that are here this evening as well. Thank you for being here. And by the way, there will be more spoken about the Brambles later on this evening. But first of all, let's get on to these awards. These are Sandblasted Decanter Achievement Awards. These are players and the only Springboks produced by the clubs. The first award goes to a South African cricket captain between 1965 and 1970, and the Jewish sporting legend of the century, Dr. Ali Bacher.
Gentlemen and friends and colleagues, really what a wonderful time it is for all of us to be here. I think back for me on so many happy moments at Balfour Park. I see Kenny Matthews there, and I can recall age 14, Balfour's second team, batting me number 3, giving me an opportunity, and Gerald Steyn there, Premier League captain, gave me every opportunity. I think I was 15, Gerald, and you batted me number 3. And to me, Balfour Park was just synonymous with such a happy part of my life, very happy. And at my table there, with Lee and Archie Wilson and Joffrey and Alan Simon, it really was a wonderful time in my life. My whole life was committed at that time to Balfour Park cricket. They were wonderful people. As I said in that video, it wasn't a social club, but people really were just so committed to striving for excellence and looking forward to spending 2 days together and contributing to a very successful club. And it's very sad that there's no Balfour Park there. From my side, just coming here tonight, I'm going to England tomorrow to an ICC conference. It's just wonderful, and I think life for me at the moment is quite serious. There's important things around the corner for South African cricket, but just to come here and see the wonderful people here, and the Percy Ghosh and George Mendelsohn. Oh, George, what a wonderful person. My uncle Julius Nicol and George were wonderful friends, and I was 11, 12, used to go watch them play, and they always looked after me. And everybody here was always so very good to me, and friendly and warm and helpful, and I'm just so happy that, I was able maybe to do something good for South African cricket. And you must never ever forget your roots, for people. Never ever. And there was a possibility that I couldn't come here tonight, and I said to my PA, don't forget your roots. And I'm very privileged and honoured to be here and to be with your people. And if I've been able in a small way to bring a bit to South African cricket and to Balfour cricket, I'm very proud, and it's you people that have made it possible for me, and people like Lee. Lee's been a wonderful friend for me and a great contributor to South African cricket, and to all you people. It's been important for me to have played for Balfour Park, to be part of Balfour Park, and to be here tonight and to meet all you people. Thank you very much.
Next person, South African hockey captain between 1965 and 1970, Jewish sporting legend of the century. Unfortunately, he's not here this evening, Mr. Neville Berman. I'd like to call on Mr. Leon Grip to receive the award on behalf of Neville Berman. South African hockey between 1979 and 1992, South African cricket between 1991 and 92, and a Jewish sporting legend of the century, Mr. Mandy Yachat.
I can only reiterate what Ali said. The names might have changed when I was playing, but the sentiments which he expressed about people being so helpful in a way of life at Balfour and then at the Guild, it was so important. I mean, something I didn't mention when I was on the video was that I think I only got my job at Worksman's because Gerald Steyn was told by Ali that he had to give me a job, not because he'd seen me bat. But it's just wonderful to see the faces of people that I used to watch when I was 12 and 13 and then later played with, and it's just turned out to be such a great evening, and I can just echo the sentiments of Ali that, especially for the younger people, that we should never forget our roots. Thank you very much.
South African bowls player, Jewish sporting legend of the century. Unfortunately, he's not here this evening as well, Mr. Cecil Bransky. I'd like to call on Mr. Mackie Glasser to receive this award on behalf of Cecil Bransky. South African cricket, 1969-1970. You've heard a lot about him this evening, Mr. Lee Irvin.
Well, after these illustrious speakers, it's difficult to say more. But I just would like to repeat one thing, that on my leaving home tonight, I had a fairly stern word from my wife. And she was actually very upset that she hadn't been invited, because she felt that in those days particularly, the wives were such a part of the whole Balfour Park scene. And really, I must agree with her. It made the whole thing complete, because we had this tremendous support from the women who used to lie around there and have their fun and chat and lie in their bikinis. And I must say, it did add some spice from time to time, especially when Dennis Gamsey was playing against us. So, thank you very much.
And speaking of the ladies, guys were telling me earlier about Barney Gernon, that at the new Balfour Guild they had the tennis courts down there, and Barney always used to field at third man, and all the tennis girls used to be playing, and that Barney never ever took a catch at third man. South African hockey, 1975 to 1980, Mr. Richard Carew.
Just a quick word. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to be part of Balfour Park and the friends that I've seen over the years. Thank you very much.
South African hockey between 1988 and 1999, but should not cricket as well. Should be playing cricket as well, Mr. Adam Bacher.
Graham, I know I started my drinking off at Balfour, but I tell you, I must have drank really hard to forget about my hockey achievements. A lot of the guys that I possibly played my Premier cricket with at Balfour probably aren't here tonight. A lot of them have immigrated, which is a little bit of a sad note. But I'm really from the younger generation here, and the tradition that I've seen that has gone on in the club is really incredible. And I think it's my responsibility and the responsibility of other younger players involved in sport. I know we don't have the same structures in place anymore, and it's really not the way that sport used to be run in the past. But I think it's our responsibility to try to build back a little bit of tradition. And I know Lee mentioned that it's a great shame that Balfour doesn't play a part in Gauteng's Premier League anymore, and it doesn't have a team anymore. And I think that shouldn't be a certainty. I think that anything's possible. There are a lot of people that have got a lot of drive in the Jewish community, and I think that it would be a great goal maybe to put back this wonderful club together again and get young Jewish sportsmen back into the sporting fields where they should be and achieving where they should be. Thank you very much.
Adam, I do apologise. When I saw hockey there, I'm going, that's a little bit strange. But then knowing that you did go to King Edward's, and Highlands always used to be King Edward's in rugby, I thought maybe you were a good hockey player as well. SA hockey, it is hockey, from 72 to 78, Mr. Brian Scher. He's not here this evening. I call on Mr. Nati Jankolovitz to receive his award. And I apologize for anything he's going to say now.
On behalf of the Americans, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure playing for Balfour Park, Balfour Guild, and whatever. It's been a great time, and you guys don't understand what this means to everybody overseas. I've spoken to Neville. I've spoken to someone in contact with the Shurs. They wish they were here tonight. Guys, thank you very much for them.
Now on to the awards for administrators. These are only former presidents of both clubs and prominent SA administrators. First one to the Honorary Life President of Balfour Cricket, National Convener of Development of Cricket in Black Community, the committee member and honorary treasurer of the TCC for 15 years, and now an Honorary Life Vice President of the TCB, Mr. Abe Levenstein.
Chaps, in the interview with me that was shown tonight, I expressed my views about Balfour Park. It played a very important part in my life, and it's something that will always remain with me. I've had the pleasure of serving cricket, I think, for over 50 years, Balfour Park, Transvaal Cricket Board. But there's one joke that I feel that I must tell because I'll never have another opportunity of telling it. Those who don't quite understand Yiddish, our non-Jewish friends will have to get interpretation from the people sitting next to them. Anyway, our Boba, our grandmother, lived with us, and she never learned to speak English. And my brother and I were mad about cricket. We played test matches in the backyard for goodness knows how long. And one day she said to us, "Was heist cricket? Rugby." But anyway, we explained to her the difference between the games, and she said she'd like to see a game of cricket. So we took her down to Balfour Park, and she sat and she watched. And after about an hour, she got tired. And we thought we'd better take her home. And as we went home, she said, "Sorg mir, wer das was steht dort mit den Henskes und guckt ihm an den hinten den ganzen Tag." I don't want to take up too much of the time that's given me tonight, but there's another joke that I'd like to tell that might please some golfers. One afternoon at the Wanderers, there were 4 non-Jews playing golf, and they see ahead of them 4 chaps wearing black trousers, yarmulkes, lange payas, long sideburns, tzitzis hanging out of the back. And they watch these chaps and they're playing the most wonderful golf. If bogey's 5, they're down in 4. If it's bogey's 4, they're down in 3. Their drives are straight down the fairway. They watch these chaps, and at the end of their round, these non-Jews saw these 4 chaps standing outside the clubhouse. Obviously, they couldn't go in the clubhouse because it wasn't kosher. So these non-Jews went up to these 4 chaps and they said, "Look, you know, we've been watching you chaps play golf and we've never seen such impeccable golf. Where did you chaps learn to play golf so well?" So the spokesman for these 4 chaps said, "Well, you know, as you can see, we're very devout Jews. And for our devotion to our religion, the Almighty Hashem has given us this talent in golf. Anyway, the four non-Jews went into the clubhouse and they said, gee, we'd like to play golf like that. And they suggested that they should convert to Judaism. So the four of them converted to Judaism. Their wives converted to Judaism. Their children converted to Judaism. But they still continued to play the same lousy golf. Anyway, a couple of years later, they play around golf at the Wanderers. And who's ahead of them? The same four chaps they used to see before, chaps with black pants, with tzitzis hanging out, with the long sideburns, wearing yarmulkes, and these chaps are playing the most wonderful golf. They finished their round and they see these four chaps standing outside. And they went up to them and they said, you know, some years ago, we played behind you and we saw you chaps playing the most wonderful golf. And you told us that because you were such devoted Jews that the Almighty had granted you this wonderful talent. And we decided to convert to Judaism. Our wives converted, our children converted, but unfortunately we still continued to play the same lousy golf. Where did we go wrong? So the spokesman said, tell me, where did you chaps go for your lessons? So he says, we went to that Lubavitch shul in Yeovil. He says, Lubavitch, no wonder, Lubavitch is for tennis. My last joke, I'm telling you, I'm telling you these jokes only because of my advanced age, and I know I'll never have another opportunity. But there was a game of rugby on, and somebody kicked the ball out of the ground. And the two sets of forwards lined up, and it took some time for the ball to come back. So somebody in the back line shouted, forget about the ball and let's get on with the game. Another one about rugby. If you speak to a rugby forward, he'll tell you that in the scrum there are lots of unpleasant things that go on. The chaps belch, they pass wind, they do all kinds of things. And in one game, one chap couldn't stand it any longer and he went up to complain to the referee, and the referee said, nee jong, jy kry nie 'n strafskop vir 'n poep nie. Give me permission. This is not a sports joke. Sadie got very involved with a fortune teller. And she said to the fortune teller, you know, I've got so much money and I don't know what to do with it. If only I could speak to my late Bobba, my late grandmother, she would tell me what to do. So the fortune teller said, all right, she'll arrange a seance, come to my place on Tuesday. Sadie duly arrived, and they sat at a table and opposite each other, and they held each other's hands. The lights were put out, and they sat for a while, and suddenly in the corner of the room there was a glimmer of light. And then a voice said, hello, Sadie, how are you? And Sadie said, I'm fine, Bobba, and how are you in your new world? And the voice said, oh, I am so well, and I'm so happy in this world. There is such luxury. I'm really enjoying life here, and I've seen so many of my old friends. And but Sadie, I want to tell you, I can't stay very long. If you want me to do anything for you, please ask me now. So Sadie says, yes, I do want to ask you something, but before I do, please tell me, when did you learn to speak English? This is really my last joke. Mr. Cohen got a telephone call from the receiver of revenue. Would he kindly come and see him? So they made an appointment, and Mr. Cohen duly arrived on that day, and the receiver, the assessor said, take a seat. And he said, Mr. Cohen, we've got information that you own 4 houses in Hyde Park, 3 apartments in Sea Point, you own a yacht, and you own a jet plane. And he holds up his tax return. He says, and look at your tax return. You show your income at 50,000 Rand a year, and it's been the same over the last few years. How did you acquire such wealth? So he said, Mr. Cohen says, well, I'll tell you the story. He says, one night when I was asleep, I had a dream. I dreamt that my Boba, my grandmother, came to me, and she told me to go to the zoo lake, and she specified a certain tree there, and she said, I must dig deep there. So when I woke up in the morning, I thought, well, that's just a dream. I'll disregard it. The next night, I have the same dream. My Boba comes to me and she tells me I must go to the zoo lake and I must go to a specific tree that she described, and I must dig deep. So the next morning I said, well, I must take it seriously this time. And that night he took his 2 sons and they went to the zoo lake grounds and they found the tree and they started digging, and they dug and they dug. And suddenly there was the clash of steel against steel. And they saw a big steel case, which they pulled out. They broke the locks. We broke the locks. And we saw inside this box there were diamonds and there was jewelry and lots of items of great value. So the assessor said, can you give us any proof of this? He says, yes, I've got 4 townhouses in Hyde Park. I've got 3 apartments in City.
Bonnie, now you know why you were for nothing. And here to present a cheque for 10,000 Rand, Mr. Gary Billell. Look at the next award, and in true Balfour Guild fashion, it says you do not have to present a second decanter. The CEO, UCB of South Africa, and currently the CEO of the 2003 Cricket World Cup Administrators Award, Dr. Ali Bacher. The Honorary Life President of Balfour Soccer, Honorary Life President, Southern Transvaal Football Association, served in every capacity on both Southern Transvaal Football Association and South African Maccabi, and a guy that everybody loves, Mr. George Mendelson. Georgie, I can allow you one joke.
One joke, no joke.
No jokes.
You know, I've got to tell Bunty about this. I didn't know that Abe was a joker, really. But Abe, you know, has always been the straight man. But tonight he really showed his true worth. Let me just tell you, I hope that there are 2 awards which are mentioned tonight, and that's for our soccer Springboks. Pip Hughes and Brian Gibson, 2 of the greatest players that played for Balfour Park and for South Africa. And if fun of a fun, I had Pip Hughes today playing for them. that scored a lot of goals. But those two people might have been forgotten tonight, Graham, and I hope that they're on the list. Thank you very much for this honour.
They're on the list now. Georgie, what are their names again? Georgie, can we have your decanter? We're going to break it in half. Guys, I do apologise. These are Administrators' Award, but congrats to those guys. Really, we do reward you and think. I mean, unfortunately, I was born in '68. I may have missed it. But really, we do think, I mean, if Georgie says you guys were great, you definitely were. 2 awards now to one of only 2 surviving presidents of Balfour Park and another one of 2 surviving presidents of Balfour Park. You also won't be here this evening, and they are the Friedmans, Monty and Lee Friedman. Brian, would you come up and receive these awards for them? Brian Swain.
On behalf of the Friedmans, I just want to say one thing. I timed Abe Livingston with 20 minutes. I can make 21.
Not a chance.
Just on behalf of the Friedmans, I apologize for not being here, and I thank you on their behalf.
Then to a past president of Jewish Guild and Jewish Guild Balfour Park, Mr. Solly Kroc.
I mentioned your dispatches, eh? I was actually wondering when they're going to mention my name. I know it was a cricket evening, but anyway, I'm really thrilled and honoured to be here tonight. It's really a great privilege. And I must admit, I've made one mistake in my life. When I merged Balfour Park Jewish Guild, I should have made sure I retained Balfour Park as the home. But I must tell you a joke. Johnny goes to school, and the teacher says to Johnny, I'm going to ask you a question, but you must promise to answer me. The teacher says to Johnny, Johnny, there's 3 birds on a standard wire. A man comes along, he shoots 1 bird dead. Johnny, how many birds are left? Johnny thinks and thinks. He says, none, teacher. Teacher says to him, Johnny, please, Johnny, think again. There are 3 birds on the standard wire. Man comes past and shoots 1 bird dead. How many birds are left? Johnny thinks and thinks. He says, none, teacher. He says, Johnny, tell me, how do you think? Well, how do you think? So Johnny says, well, when the man shot the 1 bird dead, the other 2 birds flew away. There are none left. He says, oh, Johnny, I like the way you think. So Johnny says to the teacher, Teacher, can I ask you a question? But you've got to promise me you're going to answer. So the teacher says, sure, Johnny, ask me a question. So Johnny says to her, Teacher, there are 3 ladies sitting on a park bench. Each one's got an ice cream in their hand. The one's sucking the ice cream, the one's licking the ice cream, the one's biting the ice cream. Teacher, which one is married? The teacher gets red in the face and all blushes. Not answering that question, Johnny. So Johnny says, you promised, teacher. Please, teacher, you've got to answer the question. He says, 3 ladies sitting on the park bench. One's sucking the ice cream, one's licking the ice cream, one's biting the ice cream. Teacher, which one is married? So she says, okay. The one sucking the ice cream says, Johnny says, no, teacher, you're wrong, teacher. It's the one that's got the marriage ring on her finger. But I like the way you think. And in answering that question, I like the way everybody thinks. We're all great people. Thank you.
Abe, you're going to have to give half your check now to Solly. But I believe the Crocs do have enough money. Now to the sponsors of this evening, in appreciation for their sponsorship for tonight's dinner, which has been a very special occasion, and in true Balfour spirit have come to the party, and we'd like to now call up the CEO of Regal, Mr. Jeff Levenstein.
Thanks.
know, most of us were barely traditional in those days, but you know, we anticipate Moshiach, Messiah, the Messianic days, but I'm absolutely convinced that in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, that we literally lived in heaven, let alone the Messianic age. It was euphoric. It was hard to replicate. It's almost hard to capture in words some of the issues that have been endorsed tonight. We grew up at Balfour Park. It was character building. It provided the platform for and the catalyst for career path activity, which I think Mandy referred to as well. But of course, if the 60s and 70s was the Messianic era in the true sense of the word, I'm convinced that we thought Ali was Mashiach at that particular point in time. But I must tell you something that's very difficult to replicate or to compete with my father tonight, certainly as far as the Scotch was concerned. But one of the most remarkable memories of Balfour Park still fascinates me. I used to follow my dad everywhere. They had this Chauncey fifth side, which was actually a very good side. After Gerald had completed his career, he played there. I think Archer Wilson played his first game for Balfour Park in that particular side. But many, many players. But Len Atwell, who was a very, very distinguished individual. In fact, I remember, I think it was in the 60s, he shocked the entire club by standing up at the AGM one day, and he walked out on the basis that the club didn't have the required racial mix before anyone had ever contemplated the prospect of a rainbow nation. But Lenny was, I think he was captain of Balfour Park, but he certainly played in the first team, and I think he was probably well into his 50s, or maybe even early 60s when he was playing in this particular side. He used to work exceptionally hard, and he used to work on a Saturday morning. As I said, we were rather secular in those days. And he used to rush off to wherever Balfour was playing, and of course I'd follow my dad, and Brian and I were always there playing on the side. And Lenny, this particular game, I remember it absolutely vividly. Quite remarkable. It captured the magic of this particular side, a range of Damon Runyon characters that were absolutely quite unbelievable, including the Hacky Starfields. Hacky, wasn't it? But Lenny had rushed off from work to the ground. They were playing at Jeppe, that ground behind the main ground. They had a little stand, and as was the case at Balfour, they had these little wooden benches. And Balfour had elected to bat first, and Lenny was exhausted, and he decided to lie down on this bench. And Balfour opened the bat, and he was number 3. He really was a refined, dignified, correct batsman. And Balfour, as usual, well, it wasn't that usual, but they lost an early wicket and then had to go in and bat. And of course, they land in, it's you to go in, it's your chance. And I can assure you that he walked all the way into bat without his bat. He left his bat, he had forgotten his bat, but it was one of the most remarkable sights I'd ever seen. This is also remarkable. Lenny, this Chauncey 5 team, this unbelievably interesting and charismatic side, were playing out in the country, and Len knew the way there. And I remember as a kid, it was just absolutely fascinating, because they were all, in some respects, delirious maybe from hard work. But we were going down Louis Botha Avenue, and there happened to be a sort of circle, not really a circle, but there were 2 gaps in the road, maybe for pedestrians. And Len was leading the way, and I was speaking to my dad about this recently, because he knew the way. But there must have been about 10 cars in a row, because everyone used to follow the side that had its loyal supporters. But Len, at the head of the pack, going straight down Louis Botha Avenue, decided that it was necessary, for some bizarre reason, once again exhausted probably for work, to go around the circle. In other words, going straight down Louis Botha, without any necessity for stopping or to traverse this circle, he decided to go down Louis Botha, and he went around this meaningless circle, and the rest of the convoy did the same. It was just one of the most remarkable. But anyway, this is all part, it's just all part of the mystique, the magic of Balfour Park at that particular point in time. There was a oneness, there was a unique spirit that pervaded, that engineered itself so completely into the organization, and it lives with us permanently. And of course, it was lovely to see my dad, who made such a wonderful contribution to the growth, the development of not only the club, but the concept of decency, morality, integrity, the ability to shake someone's hand and to do a deal knowing that no distortion of any nature would ever crystallize into focus. And that found its way into the hearts and minds of everyone who graced the hallowed corridors of Balfour Park. I was blessed to spend so much time with George Mendelsohn playing in the Balfour Park soccer side. Once again, just the concept of decency, of values, which remained intact. People who, over the years, were exposed to hardships and to the struggles of life, coming across them tonight or at any other time during the course of the decades that have passed. The culture that lived at Balfour Park has left an indelible mark on all these people, and it's simply grown and developed and enhanced. So from a Regal point of view, where the culture is so important to us, any group really is electrified by its culture. I would say that my father's commitment to his family, to Balfour Park, the concept of hard work, the concept of looking after other people, setting aside self-interest. Not only my father, I'm referring to Georgie Bigasia and Ali and everyone else who made such a significant contribution to society. I would say that I have certainly tried to build that particular perspective into Regal, and Balfour Park certainly lives with me and will continue to do so. Thank you.
To all the award winners, congratulations, and to a lot of the guys out there that have made contributions to Balfour Park and Balfour Jewish Guild, we thank you very much. You've given us, the youngsters, a chance to live a dream, to play sport where we've really wanted to play, whether it be cricket, soccer, rugby, tennis or golf. We thank you all out there, and to all the award winners, once again, congratulations. Thank you.
To the success of tonight. If you just stand up when I call your name, you don't need to come up here and tell jokes. Okay, big thank you to Leon Group. Norman Libovitz. Leon Slutto, unfortunately, is on a plane right now on his way overseas. Nati Jankolovitz. Brian Romberg, Mandy Yachad, Mark Romberg, and Stephen Grupp. If you guys have had as much fun tonight as we had at our meetings, swapped as many stories and drunk as much whiskey, our efforts will have been worthwhile. Others who have helped and have been of untold assistance in tracking all of you down were Maish Blazowski, Blaise, Stan Schroeder, Stan Schmuckler, Barney Myers, George Mendelsohn, and Jack Lurie. Thank you, guys.
Big thank you once again to Regal and to all of you for coming this evening. Although we've paid tribute to various people this evening, the real heroes to whom tribute is really due, and I say this with the utmost respect, is to the older generation, seated mostly to my left over here. This older generation founded, built and maintained a club which made it possible for those who would have previously been denied the enjoyment of club sport to participate, excel and nurture friendships. As well as giving us the things that you guys were denied of as kids, you gave us what you did have. Menschkeit, good old-fashioned values, Chaberschaft and morals. Now thank you. Those of us privileged to have been part of your efforts certainly benefited and bore the fruits of your efforts. And it's a great shame that future generations will not share in the same experiences. I can only apologize on behalf of the present generation for not having had the same fortitude, tenacity, commitment to have kept the clubs alive for future generations. I hope tonight has brought back many happy memories. Please continue to enjoy yourselves, drive home safely, and thank you very much.
I think just another round of applause for Gary and his committee for putting this dinner together. I now call on Mr. Mandy Yacha to say a few words, and also a dedication to the late Gerald Steckel, who I'm sure many of you will know was an integral part of Balfour Park and Balfour Guild. I certainly remember Gerald very fondly, and I'm sure many of you do as well. Mandy.
Thanks, Graham. Just before I do that, I think Gary has certainly underplayed the part that he played in getting this evening together. As much as the other committee members were involved, this evening would never have got off the ground or been the success that it has without Gary. The task that I've been asked to do or chosen to do is tinged with a great deal of sadness. I think all of us, probably without exception, remember the late Gerald Steckel and how he was really an integral part of Balfour Park. Running around with his calipers. In the early days, I remember him carrying around a charity box collecting money at the old Balfour Park. To the times when he would come into the change room and castigate us for playing the wrong shot or bowling the wrong line. And the great times that we had with Gerald. At the time of his passing, a few of us got together and were determined to perpetuate his name by making donations to certain of the organizations which had looked after him during his years of trouble. Donations were made in his name to the Arcadia Orphanage where he was when he was orphaned, to the Chevra Kadisha which looked after him for many years. They paid his residential fees and medical bills, etc., etc. And the other thing that we decided to do was to perpetuate his name at the club where he had spent so many years and given the best years of his life. And Adam mentioned that, you know, he thinks that it's a possibility that Balfour Guild could continue. Many of us don't know that it does in fact continue, and there is a cricket club. There's a team which continues to play in the leagues. And the way we've chosen to perpetuate the late Gerald's name is by donating a trophy, the Gerald Steckel Trophy, to be awarded by the Balfour Cricket Club to the player of the season. And it's my great pleasure, and I thank all those that contributed to making this and the contributions to the Chevra Kadisha and to Arcadia possible. I thank all of you, and I call on Stephen Romberg to accept the Gerald Steckel Trophy, which is going to be awarded tonight. It reads Balfour Park Cricket Club Gerald Steckel Trophy, Clubman of the Year. I'm told by Stephen that it's not going to be awarded tonight, but at the annual do, which they have at the end of the year. So.
Steve, I don't know if you want to give that to me, because I certainly was Player of the Year. A couple of times I never got awarded. Just have poor captains. Yeah, Gary, if you'd like to come up again, if we could just quickly do the raffle before we say goodnight to everybody. Regal golf shirts, 4 prizes. Okay, first prize, number on the ticket, 518029. 518029. Regal golf shirt, the second winner, 518123. 518123. Another shirt, Regal shirt, golf shirt, 518179.
Check the box.
518179.
Some jokes. The man of Benani. I wanted to watch.
One more Regal golf shirt. 518245. 518245. 8245, we have a winner. The next prize are 4 Pierre Cardin watches from Regal as well. First winner, 518357. 518357. 518098. 518098. 51809. Redraw. 518397. 518397.
Now you'll come on time to meetings.
Next one, 518095. Another watch from Regal. 518095.
Well done.
One more watch, Pierre Cardin watch from Regal. 518295. 518295. A bottle of Johnny Walker Blue. Gold, sorry, gold. Winner, 518402. 518402. That's your ticket. Whoa, Hansi. 518403. Two gift vouchers for Morrisell in Norwood. 518310. 518310. One eight one. 518181. One weekend for two, holiday in Cape Town waterfront. Depends, if you don't co-pens, you go on your own, that's counted for two. 518385. 518385. 518385. Take Dave co-pens with you. No chance.
David, Steve, he'll give you the Mandy.
Now for the unit trust from Regal. Two prizes for 500 Rand each and probably worth, six figures in a couple of years' time. Unit trust from Regal, 2 by 500. The first winner, 518313. 518313. unit trust from Regal, 500 Rand value for now, worth $1 million in a couple of years' time. 518,297. 518,297. Here we go, got a winner.
What's the minus book,
Is it all right, and finally, the winner who gets to go home with David Copans, 518366, Gary Bullell. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your contribution tonight. Hope you've had a good time.